Throughout the world, 1968 was an incredibly eventful year. Civil unrest spread across the United States and throughout Europe, as did one shocking assassination after another. In the lead up to the 1968 Summer Olympics in Mexico City, one event stands unrivaled in terms of the mass casualties caught in the middle of a tense situation that had been brewing heavily for months. Mexican President Gustavo Diaz Ordaz struggled to maintain public order during a time of already increasing tensions in his country. His administration has sought to suppress labor unions, farmers, peasants, and in July 1968, they went after the students. It all began with a football game between two rival teams from the Autonomous National University of Mexico and the National Polytechnic Institute. A fight broke out between the two groups and was eventually broken up by police officers who used excessive force to intimidate the students into order. Students banded together and formed a National Strike Council to organize, protest, and present their demands for protection from the suppressive government. These large-scale protests grew in size throughout the summer as the opening day of the 1968 Olympic Games in mid-October drew closer. On October 2nd, 1968, a large peaceful march arrived at La Plaza de las Tres Culturas, the main square within the Tlatelolco neighborhood of Mexico City, to deliver their usual speeches. Around 10,000 university and high school students gathered in the plaza to protest the government's actions and listen peacefully. In an attempt to keep public order, President Diaz Ordaz and Minister of the Interior Luis Echeverria sent military troops into the plaza and placed several gunmen and snipers around surrounding buildings to once again try to intimidate protesters into disbanding. However, rally organizers did not try to call off the protest even when they noticed an increased military presence in the area. At around 5:55, red flares were shot from helicopters above, and what ensued is still heavily debated to this day. No one knows who fired the first shot. The Mexican government said the gunfire from surrounding apartments prompted the army's attack, but the students say that the helicopters appear to signal the army to fire into the crowd. What is certain is that within the matter of minutes, hundreds of unarmed citizens would be shot dead by the Mexican military. The Olympia Battalion, a secret government branch made for the security of the Olympic Games composed of soldiers, police officers, and federal security agents, were ordered to arrest the leaders of the CNH and advance into the plaza. The Olympia Battalion members wore white gloves to distinguish themselves from the civilians and prevent other soldiers from shooting them. Some witnesses say that these forces were the ones who began firing into nearby buildings and into the crowd, hitting not only the protesters, but also watchers and bystanders. Demonstrators and passerby alike, including students, journalists, and children, were hit by bullets, and mounds of bodies soon lay on the ground. Meanwhile, in the building where the speaker stood, Olympia Battalion members pushed people and ordered them to lie on the ground near the elevator walls, stripping and beating them. The next morning, government-controlled media reported the Mexican government's side of the events. Newspapers reported that 20 to 28 people had been killed, hundreds wounded, and hundreds more arrested. But the truth did not emerge until a 2001 investigation revealed documents showing that the snipers were members of the Presidential Guard who were instructed to fire on the military forces in order to provoke them. This investigation would also reveal that between 300 to 400 people had been killed during the massacre. In 2006, Echeverria was charged with genocide in connection to the massacre. However, the 84-year-old was never put on trial due to the statute of limitations. On the 25th anniversary of the events, a stele was dedicated with names of students and citizens who lost their lives during the event. And in December 2008, the Mexican Senate named October 2nd as a national day of mourning in Mexico. What happened in Tlatelolco is a grim reminder of what an authoritative government can do when they blur the line between authority and oppression.